First of all, a quick introduction. My name's David Armstrong. I'm one of the partner success managers at Sage. We've also been joined by my colleagues at Kinspeed. So we've got Marc, Natalie and Scott, who will be going through the session with us today. I will be handing over to Marc very shortly, who will be going through a brief introduction and overview. And then Scott will be doing a demo. And we've also got Natalie here, who can answer any questions that come into the Q&A.
Yeah, thanks, David. Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. So a quick history. So many years ago, we started off working with a then small fashion company called boohoo.com. And for those of you that can remember, they were using a product called Sage Retail at that time. When they were joined by PLT and Sage actually stopped developing and supporting retail, we were left in a bit of a quandary, I guess. And because this system was already embedded in their business. So at upgrade time, we wrote our own version of retail, which became Kinspeed Retail. And that's how it was born. Fast forward sort of 15 years or so, and through development and testing and listening to client feedback and trying to essentially plug the gaps that were left by retail when it disappeared, and that don't exist in the core products, we developed FlexiSKU, and we're proud to have that on the marketplace now. So to put it simply, this product allows complex style and SKU based items, stock items with attributes to be easily managed, created, ordered and sold. A quick example of a product that I'm talking about would be if you've got, say, a cushion or whatever it might be, available in 3 colours and 3 sizes, you'd probably manually need to enter 9 independent stock items into Sage as it stands. Each of these stock items will be held independently of each other, and as such, they'd need to be managed as individual products. So pricing, common descriptions, etc., all need to be entered for each product. Each item would also need to be ordered and sold individually on sales orders and purchase orders. Scale this up slightly and add more colours and more sizes, and you'll appreciate that the number of individual products required becomes unmanageable, and that's just on one item. So, welcome to FlexiSKU. I'm now just going to go through a few slides, give you a brief overview, and this will be followed by a demonstration from my colleague Scott. So, as I just suggested, what is FlexiSKU? It allows you to manage thousands of products in Sage 200. It transforms how retail, wholesale businesses handle product complexity. And it's a powerful and intuitive product management system that integrates fully and works seamlessly inside your existing Sage 200 system. We can help by automating SKU generation, so one-click SKU generation. It's got a product hierarchy. We can also importantly import data from products that are already set up and import that into our hierarchy. We reduce time and increase productivity. It gives you more control, consistent control over products, as again it integrates seamlessly with your existing product list. Standardized name conventions, and we've got role-based security. It's fully scalable. It'll handle unlimited product variations and, as I said, complex product hierarchies. The key features, I guess, are, as I said, custom product hierarchies with ultimate dimension types, so you can add size, color, width, length, whatever you can think of. And it will automatically generate these SKUs based on these attributes. They're easy to manage once you've created them. Easy to maintain pricing across whole sort of style levels or SKU levels without going into each product individually. We can create what we call taxonomies, which is things held at master product level or style level that are true of all the sub products. So if you've got like a website that you feed into or anything else, then that information is held in one place. The sales order and purchasing functionality is really great. So if you've got, for example, someone that wants a particular product but in all colors and all sizes, then a couple of clicks and you can add that to a sales order, and you can also order things in with one click across the whole style range. And as I've mentioned, we can import styles and variants, dimensions, types and values, and we can also import your current stock into our hierarchy. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Scott, who's going to take you through the products and give you a quick demonstration.
The main way that the FlexiSKU module works is that it allows us to create styles, and the styles are effectively a template for what a stock item should be. So that all starts with our dimensions. So the first thing we would do is set up a bunch of dimension types. So we've created a few here, like color, size, shoe size, and leg length. And within each one of these, we've assigned a bunch of dimension values against it. So in this case, we've got a load of colors. We've got something called dimension presets as well. So we can create presets for sizes or colors that we would routinely put together. So again, we've put some examples here of like spring, summer, winter, and autumn colors, which basically allows us to go in and check a bunch of things that we want to include all together. This is then all tied together with dimension sets. So within a dimension set, we can go in, we can choose the dimensions that we want to use, which items within those dimensions we want to use. Like with this example, we can use multiple presets to select a bunch of items. And again, we can select multiple dimension types and the items within them. Under the composition, we can choose how we want a SKU to look. So in this case, it's going to be created with color first and then size. And then on the product group tab, we can select the product groups that exist in Sage, which we want these to be included within. So that then helps us set up our dimensions. Once we've got those dimensions set up, within the style maintenance, we'll see any product groups that have dimension sets linked against them in this list. So if we were to go into some lines and click on the add button, we get presented with this wizard that lets us create a new style. So we can put in all the information that we want at this level. Select the nominal accounts that we want to use for each of the items on there. Select a preferred supplier. Choose a warehouse that we want to put against the stock items. Set any price in that we want to. And then we've got the style options, which Mark was talking about with taxonomy. So here we've got 4 that we've set up already. The taxonomy element comes into it when we select things. So product category, for example, we've created a bunch of different types, but we have linked it to subcategory. So when we click into subcategory, we get different types of dresses. If we've selected dresses, if we select tops, it changes and we get different options there. And then we can choose a dimension set that we want to select and pick against this. So if we were to pick spring summer t-shirts, that gives us this tree view, which has all of the different colors and sizes that we've selected as part of spring summer. And if I click just on these ones to select these, we'll get onto the review screen, which will basically show us the stock items that it's going to create and the information that's going to be linked against them. And hit and finish. That's going to go away and create 14 items there. Yeah. So now we've got our demo set, and basically at this point, that is 14 stock items there, and the demo style is then there as just a template. So any changes that we want to make to the stock items, we can change it against the style and it will filter through into all the stock items. Just on the style options that I was saying before, we've linked certain options together. So we've created these style options in order to do the taxonomy side of things that I've just shown. If we were to go into the product category one and click on dresses and then go into taxonomy, we can select one of the other categories and it'll show all the options for that. And then we can select which ones that we actually want to appear for that list. And if none are selected, it'll treat it as if all are selected. So for clothing, for example, we haven't selected any options on here. But clothing would show all of these options just to make it easier. You can choose whether you want to have values against it, whether you want it to be mandatory or allow free text. It's a lot like analysis codes at that level. And then we've also got the option to create a purchase order, sales order, or sales quotation from a style level. So we've developed these forms that effectively allows you to pick a supplier. We can add individual lines, so that'd be like just adding a normal line in 200, or style lines, which then allows us to pick any of the styles that we've got, and then we can pick on this side any items that we want to include on this order, and this will load them into this grid. And then there's a bulk update tool at the bottom, so we can pick a number of items that we want to order, and we can decide that we want to update this in bulk per item or spread it across. So per item will just use that same quantity across each item, but spread will split it between each of the ones ordered. And then we can do the same thing for price. And then select the warehouse that we want this to go to, select the VAT rate and the nominal code if we want to change those. And then add lines, which will add them all to here. Same tabs as a standard create purchase order. Then we can hit save, and that's that PO created. And sales quotation, sales orders, they basically work the same way. For customers already on 200 that would be migrating to this, we've done a bunch of importers as well. So it's possible to import a bunch of styles into the system. So you're basically just creating those templates. And then you can import variants so that you can link existing stock items in Sage 200 to the styles that we've just created. Or alternatively, you can just get it to generate a load of brand new stock items from that. And then, yeah, we've got all the other ones. We've got the different ones for dimensions, the different ones for style options. We've also got a role permissions section. So basically, this will work somewhat similar to the SOP user permission screen, except it works at a role level rather than a user level. And within each one, you can basically choose which role has access to which features from within the module.
Anybody got any questions?
I think just one for me, just to confirm that something we mentioned earlier. This isn't just for retail, is it? This covers a wide variety of verticals. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's absolutely right. So, I mean, it's one of the reasons we named it more generically than we did, because retail kind of limits it to retail. And although it was born out of the fashion industry and that vertical, essentially, if you're a business that's got lots of products that are complicated products, so widgets with different attributes, whether that's size, color, weight, however that may be, we can manage it all in this system. And also it's important to note that as Scott took you through the setup of the products and how we can bulk create products, and I think we created 40 something there, those products can then be managed also for in terms of inventory, goods receipt, stock adjustments. They're all managed through the normal standard Sage front end, they will appear as individual items in your stock list. Although you can manage them in bulk for such as taxonomy and things like that through our integration.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Mark. A question has dropped in from Joe Barber. How many sites do you have using this solution? Typically, what's the installation time?
Installation time is really quick, to be honest. I think we say sort of 2 or 3 hours. It's quite intuitive to use. We've got several sites using this at the minute. The biggest one, although they're actually just migrating to Intact at the minute, was Boo and Pretty Little Thing. As I say, the majority of them are in the fashion retail or e-commerce. It's great for e-commerce if you've got sort of websites that you need linking up, because it allows you to send information up from one place rather than for every individual SKU. And also, can partners be certified on this solution as implemented by Kinspeed? It's a good question. At the minute, I guess we'll do the setup, but it's really simple, to be fair, to install and put it in. So I see no problem in allowing partners to do it.
Okay, well, I think just one more for myself, really, for you guys is, if any of the partners that are on the call or any partners in general want to gather further information, who would be the best contact to reach out to from yourselves to support them on that?
If anyone wants to get in touch, they can also do info@kinspeed.com, and we'll pick that up as well.
Brilliant. Well, what we'll do is we'll share them details after this call, just to ensure that everyone's got the correct details, so in case they've got any more information that they want to ask. But there's no further questions. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank the guys from Kinspeed as well. I thought it was a great presentation, and speak to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.